Hey everyone, my name is Luke, and this is my story on how I couldn't afford a software, so I just created my own. So, just a little bit about myself. I'm a software developer through and through, mainly backend. But the reason why I wanted to kind of make this video is because I came across this post by the user of Jake Ward, and Jake had something very, very interesting that caught my eyes and the eyes of thousands of people. And he called something an SEO heist. That's what he created, right? And an SEO heist is pretty much taking competitors' content and reutilizing it as your own or repurposing it as your own. So you can take the competitors' titles, headings, and so on and so forth, and kind of regurgitate it into your own. And he did it at scale. So he chose a competitor, hijacked thousands of articles, and then had these stats. So based off of that, he stole about 3.6 million total traffic, 500,000 in traffic in October alone. Obviously, this is an extreme amount of traffic that was diverted to the website, and I was intrigued, right? Running a consulting company, especially trying to get traffic into your website, this is most likely the number one thing that you're trying to do is constantly get leads. So I went down the rabbit hole only to find that it was really a funnel itself. Rather, the stats are accurate. It was a funnel to his software named Byword. And with Byword, you're able to do these SEO heists at scale. So I went onto the Byword website and I realized that it's very, very expensive, right? So when we're looking at expense rate, we're looking at about almost $4 an article for $100 a month, and that's a little too high for me, and I'm sure it's a little too high for most. So putting on my thinking cap, I decided to think about how this piece of software is constructed, right? And that's what I mainly wanted to do in order to recreate this, but maybe even better, right? So looking at it, I had an idea. The inspiration was, Jake's Jake's viral SEO heisting post, and then I did an evaluation of the actual feature and pricing. And when I started deconstructing it through their free plan, I realized it was not much more than a ChatGPT wrapper, where you can enter titles, keywords. ChatGPT will spit out an article related to that particular keyword or title, and everyone knows that when you put anything into ChatGPT, it lacks logic, it lacks depth, and it doesn't really produce high quality articles. And Jake makes really enforces the idea of just putting content at scale, and then once it starts getting traction, to then optimize it successfully and go back in and fix it. But the way I wanted to go around it was, well, it doesn't make any sense to push all these articles at low quality, see if something picks up, and then especially for that kind of pricing, it just didn't make any sense for me. And I noticed a lot of flaws, though they do have a lot of features that are very, very great and very, very nice to use. It just had too many limitations, and the content quality just wasn't there. So just to kind of throw it out there, I decided to just throw in a top 5 best Italian restaurants in Chicago, and you can notice right away that the quality just isn't there. So when we go down here, obviously anything in terms of SEO, when people are searching, they have a specific intent. And when you're looking at the top 5 search articles or the search results for top 5 restaurants, you're looking for places to eat mainly. But this article doesn't take that into account. So there's one thing I didn't like. So it goes into the history of Italian food, key ingredients in Italian cooking, authenticity of dishes. Again, I just want to get to the top 5 uh, things in restaurants in Toronto, not why Italian food is great, right? I already know Italian food is great. I'm just looking for restaurants. So when you go in here, you have the famous Restaurant 1, Restaurant 2, and Restaurant 3. Obviously, it doesn't make any sense because it's not supposed to, right? It makes up restaurants. It makes up facts. It's not realistic at putting it on your website, and it needs to be audited whether you do it at volume or not. And I didn't like this. I think any AI generated article or piece of content should be audited regardless. But when you're advertising a product at scale, I didn't like the fact that we still had to, it produced such low quality. So that was another thing, right? So limitations. And so when I was deciding to build this SaaS company, and I think everybody should, is to go through the features. What does it fix? The problems does it fix? We need to know, and this is a common problem with any AI generation software, is that it just kind of wraps around ChatGPT without much thought at all. So when I was thinking about it, I thought about it in the logic of SEO, right? So what would an SEO person do? Well, they would do research, look at the top search results, SERPs, look at the most recent data, and then write articles based off of that, right? And so that was the first thing I did. So when I looked at technologies that could really fit in with this software, I thought about Perplexity, OpenAI, obviously, 3.5, 4, and then Anthropic's Cloud. And I did a lot of testing with each of these, and Perplexity seemed to be the game changer in terms of getting accurate, most recent data, because it does initial research processing, and then we can run smaller operations through the other two. So I did a mix of all three. Now, per cent or per article, we jump from 20 cents or 15 cents from just running it through ChatGPT versus 50 to 60 cents when running it through all three of these different APIs. But honestly, I do believe it was the best option to go with overall, hands down, right? When you're looking at creating highly optimized, high quality articles, you need to have thought behind it. Otherwise, I think it's a waste of money regardless. And for having a few cents on the dollar, I think it's totally fine. When you're looking at having a content creator pull everything together, it is much cheaper, right? So if you hired someone, it's still cheaper per article. I think people got used to the idea of, oh, hey, it's 15 cents or 20 cents an article, and obviously that's not the case here. So we use Perplexity, or I use Perplexity, content creation. I used actually a mix of OpenAI and Claude, and the reason why I did that is because ChatGPT 3.5 is very, very quick. And I can use it for smaller substances, so like smaller processes. So ChatGPT is there for like creating titles or creating headings based off of research from Perplexity, and then having a Claude do the actual main article generation process. So when I thought about this, I wanted to make sure the logic was all sound. So when a user processes a particular article, then that gets pushed to Perplexity. Perplexity does its initial research and then pushes it off to OpenAI, where then it builds all the headings, all the information, like the framework, based off the research articles. And then for each section of those articles, it does its own research, in more in-depth research based on the topic, based on recent events, and so on and so forth. And then Claude is able to pick that up, generate a beautiful, high-quality article, and have some interlinking in there too, and external links, and so on and so forth. I think with any kind of AI, it's never perfect, but it's much better produced when you have some kind of thought and putting a lot of prompting and so on and so forth to make a really, really good product. The next thing that we thought about, when I say we, I partnered up with another developer who's also the co-founder, and he actually faced a similar issue, and that's how we connected. He created the UI, and one of the main things about a UI is I wanted it to be fast, reliable. I wanted the user to easily use it. I wanted it to be intuitive, and so on and so forth. And I think navigation and accessibility, especially when working with these types of applications, is key and number one. And then back to the SEO heisting feature, I found a way to make that better as well. And I want to get more into that. But what we do is you can actually put a competitor sitemap within the actual UI, and it will actually act as a beacon. So when every day when sitemaps get submitted, it actually pulls the new URLs, which then you can inspect and then heist new articles from. So when we actually do a heist, it's not just based off of the URL parameter, kind of like Jake does. We actually scrape the web pages of the competitors, gets the headings, does all the research, and so on and so forth. So it's very robust when it comes to actually heisting good content. And then from there on, we did a lot of implementation, a lot of testing, went into pricing strategy. Now, none of this is done, and this was mainly built out for internal use. Sorry, when I say it's not done, it's actually done. The pricing and everything is not finished yet, but I wanted to run you through what it would look like to actually run through the software. So let me open that up and I'll jump back right into it. Okay, we're back. So this is the main dashboard. Everything is here. You can kind of see your projects, monthly generated articles, your article limit, and so on and so forth. And then going back to the heist feature, you can actually heist a single article if you want to, but this is the feature that I really, really enjoy and really like. And if we actually take a look here, and let this load up a little bit, this is on a whole development environment, but I decided to use TechCrunch as an example here. And with TechCrunch, again, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, but when you create a beacon, you can enter the sitemap. If you want only filter down by a certain path, you can do that as well. And then the auto beacon is if you want to pull in sitemaps daily or check sitemaps daily to see if there's any new posts or URLs, which I think is a game-changing feature. And from here, you can actually click the URL, see if this is something that you do want to heist. Great, okay, cool. And then all you have to do is click the heist button, and then it gives you a bunch of options, right? I can go into this later, but this one's already heisted. So if we actually take a look into this, load, I have a creepy picture of Sam Altman, but image prompts are something that I'm currently working on. But here we have all this based on recent data and conclusion. So this is a very short article, just like how TechCrunch has it. And then if I wanted to, go through another one, I can do that as well. But going back to the top 5 best Italian restaurants, I also generated it just to have a side-by-side comparison. And it actually gives you an intro, and then it actually goes through the top 5 best Italian restaurants with menu items, or a little bit of history behind it and why it's so good, and so on and so forth. So a lot of different things that went into creating this SaaS, and it didn't take us much of a long time, but it did I did have a lot of thought behind creating such a SaaS company. It's not released to the public yet, but if it is something that you guys are interested in and I can give updates about, please subscribe on our website, and I'll link the description below. You can sign to our newsletter, and I'll keep updating on here as well. And stay tuned for new content. Thanks for listening.